Yo, what's up, guys? This is PBnJ, and I'm back again with Brian and Jesse. And today, for the first time, we have Patrick. You probably heard him on our Comic Con videos, and this is his first podcast with us. What's up, Patrick?
Am I on? Just play. What's up, guys? Patrick from PBnJ here. That's pretty good. I thought we were gonna have to do another take.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't warn us, dude. Same thing. I was like, oh, shit. So the reason Patrick's on today is that we're going to be talking about Better Call Saul. Season finale was last night, and the three of us are huge fans. Jesse, not yet, but we'll get him on the show soon.
Yeah. Before you guys start, I just want to make a big announcement. And Jesse, you'll be happy about this one. I just got my Xbox today. Got shipped to me, and I have it, but it's still in the box. So I'll probably open it when I decide to watch like Planet Earth 2 or something.
What you should do is go return it and get that X.
The beast, right, Jesse?
Yeah,
that's right.
I need all that power to watch my Ultra Blu-ray videos.
And you can probably play older games too, like old ROMs and stuff, DLC stuff.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I'll play all that backwards stuff. Nothing new.
He's lying, huh, Jesse? It's not in the box. He was playing all day.
He threw the box away so that way he didn't have to return it. He can't return it.
It's too late now.
His girlfriend, it's like, I don't know where she put it. I don't know where the receipt's at.
I'll save the box if you want.
Send the email to you. You can go there and return it anytime through Amazon.
I hope you got a sale on it.
Yeah, I did, or else I wouldn't have picked it up.
Where'd you get it from? GameStop?
No, it was from the Microsoft site. They had a $50 off sale.
And what'd you spend the $50 on? To
Nothing.
buy another controller?
No.
Or are you gonna play by yourself?
I'm gonna most likely play by myself.
Ain't no one playing Xbox. Ain't no one gonna play Xbox with you.
It's like a standalone, local play.
You don't even need the network connection on that one?
No.
You're going old school.
All right. So going back to topic, John, you were saying we saw the season finale for yesterday's episode of Better Call Saul season 3. I guess I'll start just from the reaction from the last scene. I thought that was again, they left us with a crazy cliffhanger like they did in season 2, where they revealed that Chuck recorded Jimmy confessing to what he did. And this time they, the season ends where Chuck kicks over a lantern and a house catches on fire. And it cuts off right before you know whether or not he lives or dies. So we're gonna have to wait like 8 to 9 months to find out. So again, they leave us with another like pretty big cliffhanger, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, last year's cliffhanger was crazy, but even on Breaking Bad, they did that every season. They had crazy cliffhangers.
That makes me want to come back every time.
Yeah.
I love the writers on these shows.
Yeah, they're awesome. I might be caught up in the like a prisoner in the moment kind of thing, but I'm starting to like this show more than Breaking Bad. But I don't know if it's because like I'm just all caught up with, from watching it now. But
you're still hyped up on it.
Yeah, I mean, like if I were to compare season 3 and Breaking Bad, like how it ended versus this one, like I think there's more going on in this one that has more like impact to all the decisions that were made. Like with Walt in season 3, he was still kind of figuring out his way to become the big time drug dealer, and Jimmy is still trying to become Saul, right? He's not there yet, but like all the things that he does indirectly, it just kind of leads him to becoming that character. And going back to like yesterday's episode, it kind of sums up the entire season, where like everything he touches pretty much turns to crap, right? Like he always starts everything to look out for himself, and then he'll do whatever it takes to get it, and he usually does. And then, but at the end, he realizes that he messed up, and he tries to fix things. But it's when he fixes things when it really hurts the people that he's impacted. So I don't know. Maybe all these things will start to catch up. I mean, it has to, right? Like I think season 3 is kind of like the climax of the story, and then I'm guessing in season 4 is where like he, his life like starts to decline and kind of leads him down that path where he finally becomes Saul.
Yeah, and that's probably when he's going to lose Kim, right?
Yeah,
I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
that I think that's gonna be the catalyst. When as soon as he loses Kim, that's when he's gonna go full Saul.
Yeah, like she's a pretty like flawed character too, right? Like, I thought about like her character after the show ended yesterday, and it seems like in a way like he motivates her because she feels like she always has to save him, and by doing that, like by her having to feel like she has to save him, it makes her work harder. But from what we saw from like episode 9, it caught up to her where she's accepting all these jobs and she's losing sleep over it just to keep Jimmy's dream alive and trying to protect him wherever she can. And she almost lost her life doing that. And you kind of saw at the end, like from yesterday's episode, she's kind of like stepping away from that, where she doesn't want to do it anymore. So it'll be interesting to see how she responds. Like, does she completely let go, like Chuck did, or Jimmy continue to take her down that road?
What if she dies, dude?
It's possible. I mean, it has to be something tragic, right? But then, like, would it make sense though? Like, it would be too easy for both Chuck and Kim to die, right? Like, that would be like from a writing standpoint, it'd be too easy to just do that. I don't know, but she's not in Breaking Bad at all. She's never mentioned.
Yeah, she's never mentioned at all.
Right.
And that's if Chuck dies. We don't know if he dies.
Right.
They just show the fire catch and then that's it. It cut away.
Freaking. I hope he dies. I hate that guy. I'm like, look, he lost everything, right? He lost his business. He lost his friends. He lost his brother. The only recourse that he has is he's got to contact Laverne again. Laverne and Shirley and maybe Twiggy.
I don't know.
I don't know him from the other movies, so.
Dude, that's some Laverne and Shirley, dude. That's an old. No one's gonna get that joke, dude.
I know he's a big time actor, but I don't know.
Yeah, but no, he was ruthless. He was ruthless with his brothers this time. It was insane.
Yeah, I mean, he straight up told them, "You don't matter to me." Like that's messed up.
Yeah, he did that on purpose to be hurtful.
Yeah, he did, and then at the end he realized like, oh, what? And then once Howard kicked him out of the law firm, then he's like, wow, I have nothing. I really have nothing. And then on top of that, he lost his sanity too, right? He went crazy again, and he started looking for the electricity in the house, and he tore his house down because he was convinced there was electricity coming through it, wrecked his whole house, and then just said fuck it and kicked over the lantern, and who knows what's gonna happen.
Well, there's no one around. It's at night, so I don't know. Like, for now, I think it might be safe to assume he's dead at that point in time. But I mean, he might be back in flashbacks or whatever later. But yeah, I mean, I think for him, his motive for this entire show is like he's trying to prove a point, right? Like he's right, and you have to respect the law. And you have a guy like Jimmy who's always cutting corners and getting away with it, right? Like, so he always wants to prove to him that being a lawyer is hard because he did it the hard way, whereas like his brother just goes to school at like American Samoa, like college somewhere, and gets his bar exam, where he passes it, and he takes the easy way out in life with everything he does. And then like with his family, where like Jimmy pretty much bankrupts his family's like business, their store. And Chuck knows that, so he's always trying to teach him a lesson, but he just couldn't. Jimmy always finds a way to get out of it somehow, and I guess, by that time, at the end, he gave up. I'm guessing he just can't. He probably realizes that he can't beat him, and that was when he maybe decided to just let everything go and just go back to his obsession again with the electricity, and later on, like, end his own life.
Yeah, it seems that they also had that scene. I think it was last season where he had that flashback to when their mom was dying, and Chuck was there, and the person she asked to see was Jimmy.
Right.
In his head, he's like, he's the guy that ruined the business. He's not here because he's probably in jail. Like, we don't know where he's at because he's Jimmy, and yet that's who she wants to see because everyone loves Jimmy, even though that's the trick of the con man, right? You love the guy. And then he rips you off in the end.
Yeah, but not maliciously. Chuck has to understand that Saul is just the favorite, and he's got a lot of charisma, and that's why people like him. But I don't think that his brother is any better. Look at the things he's doing with his own law firm.
Who, Chuck? Yeah, I mean, it's like what Howard said, right? They spent all those years building the firm up, and when Howard suggests that he retire because of his mental illness, right away he was going to sue him, and he's like, "You're going to sue your own company and bankrupt it just because you want to." And he's like, "That's fucked up. That's messed up." Like, and then Howard got all hurt by that, and he got hurt to the point that he was willing to pay his retirement out of his own pocket, like $10 million out of his own pocket.
Well, this is actually the first episode that I actually respected him.
Yeah, no, yeah.
To stand up for himself. He hasn't done this in any other time.
Right.
He was always covering for Chuck, and this time he did it.
Like, in the beginning of the show, I didn't like his character either. I thought, him and Chuck, they were like the bad guys, right? Because they're like the top guys at the law firm. They're going to be the ones who suppresses Jimmy and everything he does. But the more you learn about, like, Howard, you learn that he helped pay for Kim to get her law degree. And then, like, Howard was also supportive with Jimmy, working from the mailroom, and to the point where he gets his law degree too. So he's always like, I'm starting to like notice that he's really like trying to help people wherever he can. At the same time, he wants to also protect his law firm. I think he's becoming more and more of a good guy. It's kind of like those role reversals where he starts off giving like the viewers a bad, like coming off like the villain of the show, but then the more you know about him, the more like you start to kind of like him, and like towards the end. So that's kind of what I'm seeing with Howard.
Yeah, you're kind of seeing from his point of view, right? Now you're like, oh, okay, he's like stuck in between a rock and a hard place, right? He's trying to be he seems like deep down he's a good guy, but yeah, he's also the boss, and he has to put the business in front and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that the entire show is based on character reversals. Every single character, think about it. That would be Nacho, Chuck, Saul. They go one way, and then their character completely changes. Because in the last episode, I started actually hating Saul. And then they turned him around in this episode again. I felt sorry for him again.
Right.
And they've done that with each character, especially Nacho. When he introduced his dad, you understood that he did have feelings. He did care about somebody. And so now he's protecting his dad. So then I started liking Nacho. And that's exactly what happens with each of the characters.
Yeah, and that goes all the way back to Breaking Bad, right? Walt is the good guy in the beginning, and by the end of the series, he's the bad guy. And then Hank was kind of like, oh, what a jerk. He was like the jerk cop guy who's after Walt, leave Walt alone. But then by the end of the show, you're rooting for Hank because he's the good guy. And he was a good guy. He's a cop.
Yeah, that's the formula, and that's why we love the shows, right?
Yeah, because
they got us.
Yeah. They play with you. They play with my emotions.
Exactly. The only one that I think has been true to character that hasn't really wavered, I think might be Kim. Right? She's pretty much just stuck behind Saul every single time.
Yeah. She's been the solid constant. And I think that's why you feel bad for her, because you know what's coming, right? You know he's going to become Saul. You know he's going to become this shady, slimy dude. And yet on this show, she's stuck behind him 100% no matter what. She's got his back the whole time. No matter how bad he messes up, she's always there. And so it makes me feel bad for her, because you know something bad is going to happen to her, something really bad to make her leave Saul, or whatever's going to happen, or leave Jimmy to make him become Saul.
Yeah, so she's pretty much like Jesse, right? To Walt, where he's just there along the ride, and he always wants to try to do the right thing, but he just gets getting pulled in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and he had same thing, right? He had Walt's back the whole time. And then it just all turned bad for him. So you know that's coming with Kim. You don't want it to happen to Kim, but you know it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but the problem in the last episode was that Saul wanted the money for selfish reasons. This wasn't to help anyone. Right. In all the other episodes, he's always trying to help somebody else, but not in the last episode. That's why I started not liking him. But then he changed back to in the season finale. I really like how he set himself up to save the friendship of the old people. What's her name again?
Irene?
Yeah, Irene. Yeah, I felt really bad for her. She did a really good job in the show.
Yeah, he totally turned her friends against her, isolated her to force her to settle with all that money. But then he realized, wow, I just ruined her life. She has no friends. She sits by herself. Everyone ignores her, and they're mean to her. So it seems like it kind of seems like whenever he does something as Saul, it works. And then when he does it as Jimmy, it doesn't. And I think that's going to be his struggle coming on later. Is like, hey, every time I do something as Saul, I get the money. I get what I want. People are getting hurt, but hey, whatever. I got what I need. And then when he fixes it as Jimmy, he's like, oh, wait, I have nothing again. Right? Like he did yesterday. He restored her friendship with her friends, but he knows he's going to lose out on $1.7 million in the process. And that was a Jimmy thing, whereas Saul is the one who got him the $1.7 million settlement. So I think I think he's really starting to see it, and I think that's going to really start to play into it next season.
Yeah, and also that one episode where he was doing community service and the guy wanted to get out of it, and he just cons the pro. I don't know what you call him. The guy who was in charge of the trash cleanup.
Jesse, what's that guy called?
You call him the boss.
Did you recognize him as your supervisor?
If he has a bat with a barbed wire around it, you call him Negan. Other than that, you just call him the boss.
He signs your hours.
Yeah.
That guy.
That sounds like a supervisor.
Dude, you sign your own hours. What the fuck? Who's gonna really double check who signed your paperwork?
Oh, the show messed up. They didn't have the right consultant.
Yeah, newbies.
There's a new job for you, Jesse.
Yeah. So anyway, like he gets the guy out of it. He makes $700 doing just by scamming his way through it. And then you kind of see that quick scene where he's just laying on the ground and he's just like really happy with himself. Like that was Saul. That wasn't Jimmy, right?
Yeah, that was Saul.
Or one of those examples.
No, I'm sorry. Really quick question. So I kind of, from listening to you guys, I understand that this guy has a split personality. He's Jimmy and he's Saul. Is there a reason why he changes from one persona to another, like legally?
Yeah, so when growing up, so his name is Jimmy. That's his real name, Jimmy McGill.
Correct.
And growing up, he was a bad kid. He was always in trouble. He was always stealing, always conning people for money and stuff. Kind of made an alias for himself, Saul Goodman. And the reason why it's Saul Goodman because it's him saying it's all good, man. So when we say he's Saul, that's when he goes back to his old ways as a con man. So as a kid, he kept getting in trouble, and finally, it seemed like when he was in his late 20s or early 30s, he got busted, and his brother Chuck, who was the straight A student, he was the good one, the successful one, became a lawyer, started his own firm. He bailed him out and basically told him, "This is the last time. You got to get your head together." So he did. He straightened up, went to law school. I think it was online for the University of America Samoa, and got his degree. And he worked his way up into through the firm from the mailroom, and became a lawyer. And that's Jimmy. That's the hardworking, good guy. He's a good dude, and he put his mind to it, and he can accomplish things. But he still has Saul pulling at him every once in a while. And I think last season is when he took Kim. It was like a date. He took Kim to a restaurant, remember? And then he started conning people at the bar, and he was showing her, "This is how you get easy money." So that's Saul, and Saul's there all the time. And when he uses Saul, he gets things, he gets money. But when he goes, "No, that's not right, I'm gonna be Jimmy," he loses everything. So that's the difference.
He's like a Charlie Brown. He's kind of like a Charlie Brown as Jimmy.
Yeah, like stuff just doesn't work, or and then his brother was sabotaging him the whole time because his brother was jealous. Like Brian was saying earlier, that he went through law school, he studied really hard, and it took forever, and he did it, and he finally became a successful lawyer, whereas Jimmy kind of just went, "I'm gonna be a lawyer," and just became a lawyer. And so Chuck was super jealous of that and was like always trying to hold him down. So he was like sabotaging him, and that's how he kind of became like you said, like a Charlie Brown, where he would try something and it just wouldn't work. And a lot of it was Chuck holding him down, which is messed up because that was his brother.
Yeah, and Jesse, the reason why we refer to him as like Saul because this show is a prequel of Breaking Bad.
Correct. And I was looking at that when you guys were talking about it. So are they going to kill this after 6 years? Because this is supposedly 6 years before that whole thing.
Well, there's no like real time period. I mean, unless you count every season as a year, then yes. But it's just whenever they want to end the story. So does he officially change his name to Saul at a point?
Or
Yeah.
that's not okay.
When when you see him in Breaking Bad, he's already Saul Goodman. He has his own little like shady law office, like on a strip mall.
Yeah, and he would. That's where all the criminals would go. They go see him.
He's the fixer.
He's a fixer, and then so and that's another thing too is that in Breaking Bad, he's successful in Breaking Bad. He has money. He has a lot of money, but he's
Well, that's the reason why the teacher, the main guy, goes is to use him, right? Because obviously he has a reputation for that.
yeah. Jesse Pinkman knows about him, and he introduces them, and they start working together. So somewhere down the line in the show, in Better Call Saul, he's gonna become Saul Goodman and make a lot of money. It's just a matter of where and when and why.
Well, and how too? Like we don't know how he's gonna get the money.
Right.
So,
I thought he was.
Like,
I thought he was gonna
there's
get the money.
There's going to be a catalyst, right?
Right.
Like there's going to be something that turns him to that. So he's like, "Fuck Jimmy, Jimmy's gone."
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I think it's probably going to be Kim. The problem here is that he seems to be happier when he's Jimmy. He just doesn't have any money ever.
Yeah.
But everything falls in his lap, like his girlfriend, his brother, everything. It works for him when he's Jimmy. He just wants more. Remember when he was at the law firm? He gave that up. He didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
He wants the path of least resistance. That's what he wants.
right. And I noticed like that one scene earlier. I think it's the second season where he works for that law firm in Santa Fe. I think. John, you can fact check me. You know, like they give him a Mercedes, and then like he gets a cup, and he couldn't fit it into the cup.
Yeah, the cup holder. Yeah.
In a way, it's kind of like saying like you're not that guy. You know, like you fit in that crappy car that you drive around. You know, it's kind of like showing the viewer that the nice Jimmy is not it's not going to work out for him. You know, so he only do wrong in order to be successful, like Pat said.
Well, isn't that the whole profession of being a lawyer? I mean, you have to give up a lot of your morals and stuff. I mean, this is like if you're going to be a defensive lawyer, you're going to represent rapists, murderers, and stuff. You at one point to be a successful lawyer, you're going to have to kind of ignore your own morals and ethics and be part of what you're representing.
Yeah, and we see that in Breaking Bad. And when he shows up in Breaking Bad, that's what he is. He defends drug dealers and thugs and stuff, and he's really successful. Right now, his big client was he was defending a group of elderly people who were scammed out of a lot of money, and it's a big payday, but he keeps running into roadblocks. Like he was disbarred. He has a 1-year suspension, and so he can't practice right now. He's waiting for the old people to settle and get their money, but they're not. They keep wavering on it because their new lawyer's telling them not to. So right now you see when he's good Jimmy and he has some stuff going, but he just can't win. He can't get it. And then we're in Breaking Bad, he's just defending all these drug dealers and making tons of cash. So yeah, he's trying to like not go that way, but you can see that's actually the right way to go for financial reasons.
Yeah, and another example from this season was when he got stuck with those TV commercials, and he tried to do the right thing and try to sell it the right way, and he even offered it for free, and when the guys at the music shop, and when those guys try to cheat him out of the deal, then he had to go back to being Saul and like purposely slip on that drumstick. So
yeah, he hurt his back. he's on the ground, my back, and you have to shoot my commercials. I'm gonna sue you.
Yeah, so when he started playing that guitar in the office, like I knew he got that guitar because he commented, he knew what that it was signed by somebody like a rock star or whatever.
Yeah.
So when he was playing it, I'm like, oh yeah, he got the guitar too.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that's the only way he knows how to navigate through life. Because some things are unfair, and he can use the law to his advantage to get through it.
Yeah, he knows.
That's what I've been noticing on a lot of the episodes, like the guitar episode that you're just talking about.
Yeah, he knows how to
do the right thing.
Yeah, he knows how to manipulate the law just enough to get what he needs. So yeah, the finale last night was awesome. Another big part of this show that the fans of Breaking Bad are going to appreciate was the return of Gus. He debuted about midway through the season. And it's pretty cool to see him before he was Gus Fring in Breaking Bad. He's still on his way up. He's already got the chicken store, Los Pollos Hermanos, but he's not quite where he is yet. He was still feuding with Hector Salamanca, and Hector Salamanca in Better Call Saul isn't wheelchair bound yet. So you had them kind of feuding with each other, and it was also cool to see how Gus met Mike and how their relationship got started. You know, Gus was probably the best part of Breaking Bad, right? What do you guys think?
Yeah, Gus's character was exceptional in there. I really liked watching him. He's really intriguing to watch, really a smart guy. He's totally the opposite of the regular drug dealers that you're used to watching.
Yeah, it seems like he's like 10 steps ahead of everything, right?
Yeah, it seems like he's the architect. That's basically what he is the architect of everything.
Like on Breaking Bad, like after he dies, I guess everything kind of falls apart, right? And that's how Walt pretty much takes over. And that's why Lydia has to work with Walt, because Gus is dead at that point. So it's pretty cool, like, that they brought Lydia back too. And
Yeah.
kind of her backstory. Yeah, and it was really cool to see them, like, go to that giant, like, laundry factory, you know, because that was like one of the biggest things in Breaking Bad, where they, like, Walt and Jesse finally move into a big place where they can do their work without having to sneak into houses to make their meth. So it was really cool to just show that, even though they might not get to it, like, again for a while, it's good to show that for the fans, I guess.
Yeah, it was a good fan service right there. You see Gus and Lydia show up to that place, and they're like, they kind of just give each other a nod, like, oh yeah, this is gonna work. But then they even showed Tyrus and the other guy. I always forget his name. The one he no the one that worked for Gus, and he killed him in Breaking Bad when he stabbed him in the neck. The Mexican dude.
Yeah, I forget his name.
I always forget his name. But they were back in this season too. And Tyrus got really fat. I don't know if you guys noticed that.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. If you watch this episode, he has a huge gut. So I know what he's been doing. He's been living off the Breaking Bad money.
So he lost weight, like, in the future.
Yeah.
The timeline.
He probably got, oh man, I need to hit the treadmill if I'm gonna work for Gus.
Yeah, I like that they show the disagreement that he has with Hector, and you know, like you said, we know that Hector ends up in the wheelchair with just a little bell, and from what we're seeing so far, like, Gus is doing everything he can to make Hector's life miserable, right? He took away his drug route, took away his source of making money, pretty much. And from yesterday's episode, the finale, you see Hector finally, like the early sign of him ending up in a wheelchair, you know, where he loses his speech and everything. And the first thing you see is Gus, like, jumping in right away and trying to save him. And it kind of shows that he doesn't want him to die like that. Like, he wants him to die on his terms.
Right.
But, you know, we all know in Breaking Bad, like, Hector is the one who gets the last laugh.
Yeah.
And it makes more sense now, like, watching this. You know why he agrees to do it, because at the time it didn't make sense why Hector would agree to help Walt and to kill himself. So seeing this backstory, it kind of helps explain a lot of why, like, what Hector's motive was later on. Yeah,
you saw that. Was his name Don Eladio? Their boss. He favors Gus, like, big time, right? And Gus is always like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just, you know, it's all good. But really, he's undermining Hector the whole time. And then here, when Hector, when he should have died, and Gus saves him and pretty much sentences him to a life in a wheelchair. Yeah, and it's like, oh, okay, now I see why he hated him so much that he would die to kill him.
So, like, in Breaking Bad, like, there was one episode where they show a flashback where Gus is with a buddy of his, and his buddy gets killed at the swimming pool.
You're right.
So that takes place even before.
Yeah.
This, right?
Yeah, that's way before.
Yeah. And it's Hector. Hector shot him, remember?
Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that part.
Yeah, so that's like. Go ahead, dude.
Do you guys how did Gus find out that Nacho did that? I mean, I know he's a smart guy, but I didn't see Nacho doing anything that would lead Gus to believe that he switched the pills.
I don't know. We saw him picking the pills up, but when he was picking the pills up was when Gus was giving him CPR, so I don't think he saw him.
That's right, but then he looked at him like,
yeah,
he knew
and he looked at him like he did something. I don't know. I think just maybe the way Nacho was talking, right? And when the EMT was talking to him, like, he was so calm. You know, he just answered. Yeah, he was like, oh, does he have heart problems? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, was he taking medication? Yeah. And he just handed him the pills. And I
Well,
think,
another was he was picking up the pills so that the doctors or the EMT guys wouldn't pick it up and take it to the lab and find out that they're just ibuprofen.
right.
So maybe that showed Gus that he's trying to cover his tracks. So there must be something going on there.
And I'm wondering if I wonder if he also sees like, oh, this is a smart guy right here.
Yeah, because like from what we see, like Mike is the only one who knows about this.
Right.
I like Mike as a character. He's a pretty good guy. He's always trying to help out people.
Yeah, I think Nacho would have been a really good protege for him, but they went in different paths in life, I guess. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Like maybe for Mike to like bring his money to Lydia, I thought that was pretty cool too. How he was kind of hesitant to put down like a paper trail, but he needs to wash that money, right?
Yeah, and that's how he ends up in Gus's employ. And it's funny too because like in the show they say, oh, it's only 20 weeks and that's it, just 20 weeks, and that doesn't happen. He sticks around the whole time.
Yeah, but he stuck with them for life now after Gus did that for him.
Yeah,
but Gus knew what he was doing. He planned it.
Oh yeah,
like you said, he's undermining everyone.
Yeah,
he knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he saw someone like Mike and was like, I need this guy working for me. But with all these great scenes, Pat, I know you said you want to talk about a couple of scenes that you really liked.
I'm pretty sure that, let's see, I've got 2 scenes that I really enjoyed. One of them probably everybody in the universe likes is the scene where Saul sets up his brother in court by placing the battery in the pocket. And then through the case, he reveals to his brother that basically he's a mental case.
Yeah.
He asks him to reach inside of his pocket to pull out the battery. And then at that point, you can see that he realizes that there's really nothing wrong with him. I love that part. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Over.
Yeah, so real quick, just for the fans who haven't seen it, Jimmy's brother's Chuck, thinks he has an allergy to electricity, right? Like power, electricity. But really, it was a mental condition brought on by his divorce. So the whole show, Chuck is such a pain to deal with because he can't be near electricity. This scene is when Jimmy finally proves to everyone and Chuck that it's all in his head. And he did that right, Patrick. He put a battery in his pocket and he had no idea.
Yeah, it was from the cell phone. He took out the cell phone battery, and to prove that it worked properly, he asked him to take out the battery, hand it to him, and he placed it in the cell phone, and then he started using the cell phone, and it worked, proving his point that it's all in his head and there was nothing that was affecting him.
Yeah,
it was an amazing scene. I loved it.
Yeah, I think everyone was just like, finally, Jimmy got him. Finally.
Yeah, but then you started feeling sorry for his brother. Just slightly.
Yeah.
Oh, he got him. Because he set up his ex-wife. Everybody was there to witness exactly what was happening. So that's one of the scenes I really liked. And there's another scene that I enjoyed too. I like the character of Nacho. I didn't like him at the beginning. But then when they introduced his father and how he cared for his father enough and didn't want Hector Salamanca to mess with him, so he decides to try to kill him. I enjoyed the scene where he was practicing picking up the pills and placing them inside the jacket pocket. That was one of the scenes that I thought was really great. I'm really glad they put that in, because if he didn't practice, there's no way he could have done it properly. And then when the time was right, and he actually had the opportunity to place the pills in there, you could see how difficult it was for him. He was shaking. He was sweating profusely, but he got the job done. Those are the 2 parts that I really liked from the entire season.
Yeah, and being an actor, how great is the acting on this show?
It's very good. It's difficult for me to even find issues with any of the acting at all, even for the co-stars parts, which would be like 1 to 5 lines. I see no problems with any of the characters. Nacho, interesting enough, he's half Mexican and half Canadian, I believe. And he does a really good job. Now, I don't speak Spanish like you guys do, but I don't think that his Spanish is perfect. What do you guys think about that? Are you familiar with it? Do you know Jesse? Have you seen him speak?
Does he say a lot of things with like starting at the S and then have like about at the end? Or what?
No.
Is that like Canadian Spanish?
No, it sounds just. I think you're saying it sounds a little bit like high school Spanish, right? Like it's not real Spanish. Like
Right. It's not like he's a fluent Spanish speaker.
right.
You get that a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, even it's weird because I've seen some actors who look like they're straight from Mexico and their Spanish is off. Like they speak it more Cuban or something like that, but it's still not Mexican Spanish. So it might be like I've never seen the show, so I can't attest to it.
Yeah, I think it's more like textbook Spanish.
Yeah, Pat, you're right. He's like from Quebec City, and then he moved to Montreal. And when he got the show, he moved to LA. So yeah, he's like French Canadian, and he's speaking Spanish on the show.
The words.
He passed for a Mexican to me. I'm telling you.
No, he's good.
What would happen though is if Ice comes up to him, he's just gonna give up.
Yeah, he's like, it's cool. So Patrick, what do you think? Who has the better acting, Better Call Saul or Westworld?
Westworld's pretty amazing. No, that's different. So there's a difference between those type of actors and these actors. These actors are comedians and they're regular film actors, it seems like. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but you can tell that the actors on Westworld are stage actors. They're meticulous in everything that they do. Who's that old character, one of the original robots? Is it Bill? Is his name Bill?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the cowboy?
Cowboy Bill, man, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how he did that. I've watched that scene so many times, I still don't know how he does it. It was amazing. No, that's a good show.
And probably because he's such a good actor, but the guy who plays Chuck, I mean, everyone hates him so much that, I mean, his acting, right? That's all as acting, right? Like to get you to hate his character.
Yeah, well, earlier I made that joke about Laverne and Shirley. That show was in the 70s. He's been doing it for years, and you loved him in Laverne and Shirley. Completely different character here. So no, he is a very good actor. Hector Salamanca, I hate that guy. I mean, I'm sure he's a nice guy in real life, but I hate him. I hate everything about that guy. So he epitomizes the perfect guy that you want to be in a wheelchair. I mean, that's it exactly. No, the casting directors picked the actors right on. Each one of the roles is perfect. Gus, I have no issues with that guy. I saw him in an interview. He's nothing like his character at all.
They're
all great.
Who do you think was the worst? Do you think was it Jesse? Was he the worst guy in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul?
He probably was, but you guys probably know this, but a lot of times you see movie stars and they can't act at all, but they have this certain amount of charisma that you just constantly want to watch the person no matter what he does. You know what I'm talking about? Who is this? I don't think Keanu Reeves is the best actor, but I love watching him for some reason.
Right.
You know, John Wick 2,
Speed,
Matrix.
Yeah.
But he's pretty much the same. Point Break. He's the same character. He's the same guy. I just like watching him.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise. He's the same guy all the time. I still like watching him. Well, not now. He's getting kind of old now. But sometimes you just fall in love with the charisma that these people have.
So you think that's what Aaron Paul has? He might not be the strongest one, but his charisma was there.
Yeah, and the writing.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
A lot of times when you get on the set on a show and you get a script, there's a lot of times you think that the actor's horrible, but sometimes it's the writing and the actor can't do anything. So if you have a mediocre actor, but you have a great script, the actor's going to look exceptional. But the opposite happens also. So Better Call Saul is so well written that the actors have all been given a gift. And of course, the directors are going to help you out also.
Yeah, so it just makes it easy for them.
Yeah. I like Kim's character also. I would say that the best actor out of both Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad is probably, let's see.
The Meth.
The Meth.
The Meth, yeah, he's the best. No, the lead actor, what's his real name from Breaking Bad?
Oh, Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston, yeah. He's by far the best actor. He gives a clinic on acting. You can see him literally evolve from the beginning of the show to 5 years later. And seeing each episode, you see him slightly change. And it's just amazing how he does it. You take 9 months off and you do another season, and you just pick up where you left. It's incredible. That's really hard to do. People have difficult time in the same scene, going from like one particular scene to another scene and transitioning properly. And he had to transition through for 5 years flawlessly. It was amazing, and that's why he's in a lot of movies now, because everybody knows how good he is. And a lot of actors say this about him. I've heard a lot of interviews where people refer to Bryan Cranston and say how good he is. He's an amazing actor.
And is that why like when you hear people like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans talking about how they want to stop doing the Avengers eventually, and you're like, why? It's so much money, it's so easy. But is it just because they're doing it for so long, like 10 years, that you just can't do it anymore?
I think they just get tired of it. I think they've worn it out and they want to do something different. It's not about money anymore. There are some actors that are pretty good, and all of a sudden you see them doing these low-budget movies that are no good. They just want a paycheck. And if you have the opportunity to make money and you need it, then go for it. But if you're a serious actor, then you're going to try to pick roles that will enhance your career. So, like Leonardo DiCaprio, look at all his movies. He always picks good movies. He can pick any movie he wants, but he only picks movies where he can possibly win an Oscar.
Right.
He's done this his entire career. But there are other really good actors. People may not think so, but let's see. Who else do I think is really good?
Tom Hanks.
You know what? I think that Tom Hanks is a little overrated. He's pretty good.
He said it.
But I actually think he's a little overrated. Sorry, Jesse. Is that your favorite actor or something?
No, not at all. But he's a really good actor in my eyes. I was just thinking he's better than like Tom Cruise and all these other guys. I mean, but well, fuck you.
Yeah.
You can't do what he did in Contact. Or not Contact. The one about where he gets Castaway.
Yes.
Did you ever see that one sci-fi movie? It was like the greatest sci-fi movie all time. What's it called?
Star Wars?
No. That's second. It's Starship Troopers. That's right. And there was this character, and I think they referred to him as the late cadet or something. The most awesome actor on the planet, dude. What are you talking about?
I think he had a role next to that one chick, that hot chick.
He was standing right next to her, dude.
Oh boy! Wasn't he a gangbanger in another show or something?
Who?
That same guy, that wonderful actor. He
He was
in this movie called Crash and Burn too. Hardcore.
Oh man.
Okay, so for my favorite scenes, same with Pat. The first one would be the courtroom scene where Fuel bumps into Chuck and drops the battery in his pocket, and later shows that the whole electricity thing is more of a mental thing. And I want to mention here, I like that in the beginning of the season when Chuck was in the hospital, the doctor kind of did a test on him, and she turns on the electricity thing in his bed while he's talking. So they don't trick the viewers or they lead them on, letting you think that he really does have this problem. They let the viewers know right away, and that again, it goes to the writing. Same with Breaking Bad. What was the brother-in-law's name again? The cop.
Hank.
Hank. Yeah, when he finds out that Walt is the guy making all the meth, they didn't drag that out where they play cat and mouse. Pretty much the next episode, Walt confronts Hank in his garage and just tells him I know who you are, and it leads to that really awkward and funny scene in the Mexican restaurant. So I mean, my point is they don't the writing is so good that they don't lead people on. They show you everything up front, and then you see how they deal with it. So I think that's really cool. And then the other scene might be a collection of them, but pretty much all the scenes where Mike is working alone, it's always very quiet. It's always by himself, and oftentimes there's like a montage of him doing stuff. The one that I really liked from this season was when he was trying to find the bug in his car.
Oh yeah.
He just the whole afternoon taking apart the car, and in the end he just dumps the car. He just gives the car to the junkyard guy. But just his patience, he's so patient with everything he does. Even like later when he finds the bug, he takes it home, he drains the battery, and then he kind of replaces the bug tracker with his. So like everything he does is very like detailed and patient, and I really like that about Mike. And you kind of see that with Nacho, like if Mike were 20 years younger. That's why, like I said earlier, like he would have been like the perfect protege for him. But
yeah,
that their life just, I guess it doesn't cross path enough for them to work together in that way.
Yeah, and like most of Mike's scenes, there's no dialogue, right? It's just him working. Right. Oh yeah, Mike is almost like, it's almost like Better Call Saul / Mike, right? The show.
Yeah, there were episodes where they don't even interact with each other. It's like two separate storylines.
Yeah, and he's cool. But then you see them how they do converge eventually. Like, well, in this season, you see Mike come under the employee of Gus, and even though Mike and Saul still aren't really connecting, they're going to eventually. So like, it's part of the excitement. Like, oh, how are they gonna meet again? And obviously, we keep harping on this episode in the courtroom, but if you haven't seen the show at all and you have to see one episode of the show, check out that episode. It's that good. I wouldn't be surprised if there were awards handed out because of that episode. But one of my favorite scenes is, I still think about it a lot, was the very first scene of the season when it's Saul in present time, when he's the manager of the Dairy Queen. Oh no, the Cinnabon. Yeah, there was a scene. So every season, for those who don't watch the show, they show a black and white short scene of Saul in present, which takes place after Breaking Bad, and he's in Nebraska as a manager of a Cinnabon. And the first two seasons, they were small scenes. They weren't really that important. But this season, it started off with him. His name is Gene now. He takes his lunch break. He goes upstairs in the mall, sits down on a bench, and he's eating a sandwich. And this kid is shoplifting, and he runs past him, and he hides in the photo booth. And the mall security guards run, and they're looking for him, and they see Saul sitting there, and they say, "Hey, have you seen this kid?" And at first he tells the security guards where he's at. He's hiding in the photo booth. So they grab the kid and they put him out, and they're gonna arrest him. And then he stands up to leave, and then as they're dragging the kid away, he can't help himself. And even though he's in witness protection as Gene, he yells out, "Get a lawyer." They don't tell him anything, get a lawyer. And it's almost like, even though he's supposed to be keeping a low profile, Saul's still in there. And Saul wants to come back. And the security guards go, "Man, screw you, man, asshole." And they yell that asshole, and they walk away. And then he goes back from his lunch, and he goes back to Cinnabon, and he passes out, and he passes out right on the floor. Like he's so stressed out, or something happens and he just passes out. And then that's it for that scene. And what the bad part is that they're not going to show anymore, or they might. No, that's it. Season's over. What am I talking about? I have to wait till next season. But it's like, I want to see more of that now. I want to see what's happening. Why did he faint? Is he really risking everything again just to be Saul again? Like how you're seeing it when he's Jimmy, he keeps taking all these big risks to do the shady stuff that's Saul. And then once he goes into witness protection after the events of Breaking Bad, he still can't help himself, and he still has to be Saul. And now I want to see what happens. Like when he passes out and they take him to the hospital, do they find out who he's really, Saul Goodman or Jimmy? Or does he say F it and just give up his life and go back to being Saul? I don't know. That's been stuck with me since the first episode. And I knew, the worst part I knew is that after that scene, I knew I wasn't going to see anything else this season, because of season 1 and season 2, they only show that one scene and that's it. So now I got to wait till freaking next April to see what happens.
Every one of those scenes from the beginning of each season, they're all good. The first one, all they do is just show you like where he what he's doing now, like working at the Cinnabon, and like he's just living in some dinky like house by himself. And then the second one, which I really liked, was when he accidentally locks himself into that room.
Yeah.
And there's an emergency door, but he's afraid to open it because it'll alert the police. And he just stays in there all night until someone comes by the next morning. So I thought that was really cool. And then
also that scene. Remember, he carved on the wall. Saul was here.
Yeah. So yeah, and then like what you said, the third season, he kind of like reverts back or shows a little bit of his past life, where he's trying to go back. So yeah, in season 4, when they show that black and white scene again, I'm going to be really looking forward to what they show there.
Yeah, and I wonder if when the show ends, whenever it does, if they'll do it like maybe more than maybe a whole episode, maybe the very last episode of the whole series, maybe it might be of him where he is now and what happens to him. Like hopefully something. So speaking of that, Brian, do you think we'll ever see Jesse or Walt in the show?
I hope so. Hopefully by the time the show ends, there's some scenes that you wouldn't see from Breaking Bad that intersects with Better Call Saul. So what I'm hoping is by the last season, he's like probably like a weekend to before he meets like Walt or something, and then have some scenes where the two of them are in the scene together, like show him from Saul's point of view, where Walt comes into his office, like just show different angles from how they first meet and all that. I think that would be a really cool way to end a show. So I think that would be, they've been pretty successful bringing back all the old characters. Hopefully, Bryan Cranston is free to make a cameo and come back for at least one episode to do something like that. I think that would be a really good way to end the show.
Yeah, I think a good spot to end it would be remember when Walt was in his classroom and Saul came walking up, he found him and he said, "Oh, my guy found you in 20 minutes," which I'm assuming that's Mike.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool to see that from Saul's point of view. You see him drive up, walk into the school, find him, and he tells him, "Better call Saul," and he walks away. And I think that would be a good way to end it right there.
Yeah, you got a good point. Like if that was the final scene, then that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, because at that point, that's when he fully becomes involved with Walt and Jesse, where he really locks in with them. Breaking Bad was what, five seasons? You think this show would be about 5? Same thing?
Yeah, I talked to you about this before. Like, I was thinking that they would wrap up Chuck's story halfway through this season and kind of start the downhill with Kim, and maybe by the end of this season, they would knock out the two characters that are close to his life, and then the next season would be the last season where they show how he fully evolves into Saul. So I was expecting it to be 4 seasons, but they extended the whole thing with Chuck until the end of the season. So I could see it going for 5 seasons, but I don't think they will go beyond that. So they would keep it the same as Breaking Bad, just 5 seasons.
Yeah, because like if Chuck is dead, then there goes one character, and then the next season would have to be with Kim, and the falling out with Kim, and then season 5 would be Saul. Saul.
Like the whole story with Howard, that pretty much it's bundled with Chuck. So
yeah,
they're pretty much separated. Jimmy doesn't really have anything to do with HHM anymore. I can see that storyline going off, like ending there, and next season would really just focus on Kim, like how things fall apart with her. And I guess on the Gus and Nacho and Mike's side, they'll probably show how Hector finally like ends up in a wheelchair. But I don't see that extending out for the full season, even though even if they were to share half the episode, per episode. I mean, it just thinking about it just seems like it would be a shorter storyline.
Yeah, and I think what's also cool is that I don't know if you remember, but the very first time they meet Saul in Breaking Bad, and remember when Walt and Jesse, they take him out to the desert and they act like they're gonna kill him. He brings up Nacho in that scene, so I know Nacho's gonna live, and I'm guessing him and Saul are gonna be like business partners or something. They're really gonna get involved, working together. So I want to see how that comes about too.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Nacho comes clean. Like he gets out of this whole thing, and he becomes legit and works with his dad. But we'll see. You know, he could. There's a lot of possibilities. He could die. He can come clean, like be legit, or he has to flee the city and move somewhere else. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to him.
Now, for everyone who hasn't seen Better Call Saul and has seen Breaking Bad, you have to get on this show. It's a great show on its own, but when you come at it already watching Breaking Bad, you appreciate it even more. It makes it even better, I think, for fans in the know. You see all these little hints here and there of what's going to happen, and it makes you really feel for these characters. So if you've seen Breaking Bad and you haven't seen Better Call Saul, jump on it. If you haven't seen either, watch Breaking Bad first, then watch Better Call Saul. Jesse's going to do it. He said he's going to do it. We're going to make him do it. That's the way to watch the show.
Breaking Bad first.
Yeah, I'm saying Breaking Bad, do Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul. I love the show. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it is. Right, Brian? Did you think the same thing? Like it's going to be okay. It's just a spinoff, but this is a really good show.
Right. I didn't expect it to be this good. Like, from what I heard earlier, before they started filming, this was going to be like a 30-minute comedy where he would deal with different things every episode. But then they kind of started writing, and from what I heard, they started writing, and they just went into this hole, and they started writing in the story just like Breaking Bad, pretty much, but for this character. So it became a serious show, just like Breaking Bad, and I think it went in the right direction. I mean, this is way better than that 30-minute comedy show that we were talking about before.
I didn't hear about that. Where'd you hear that?
That was just one of the rumors. Like, when they wanted to do the spin-off, like, he would just have these random crooks come in, and he would deal with them, like, solve their problems in one episode. And it would be like that every single episode, with one, like, small story that's ongoing. But for the most part, it's just dealing with these criminals every episode. That's
funny. I'm glad they didn't do that. I mean, that kind of makes sense as to why they chose Saul. Because I remember when they announced a spinoff and they were like, we're going to do Saul. And then I was like, of all the characters to do a spinoff, why Saul? Why him? And then now that kind of makes sense that they had a whole different plan, but then it ended up turning into this drama. And it's so good. Like, it has like my highest, recommendation to anybody. It's that good. I mean, this is up there with all my favorite shows that I watch. I never miss it. And then this is probably the best season, I think, so far, season 3.
Yeah.
So overall, it's a great show. If you haven't seen it, get on it. Jesse's watching it right now. I think if you start now, you can catch up on everything by Monday. So I think by next week, you should be good, right?
Sure, of course not. As long as I'm getting sleep and, just regular 15-minute bathroom breaks and food breaks, I should be fine. Yeah.
Class is out, right? Class is over.
Exactly, school's over for the semester. I don't have to go to school until September. And then I'm not gonna have to. I mean, I just have to make sure that I have enough time to see Silicon Valley and
Westworld.
The Walking Dead.
Are you caught up? Are you caught up in Westworld?
This Sunday, so I'll be another one out of the way.
Jesse, you said you watched like the first 4 episodes of Westworld?
Yes, and then the other thing too, I need to catch up is Stranger Things. Me and my brother saw another one on Sunday, so we're on episode 4 now.
Well, the good thing is that their episodes they're not that long. All right, so Jesse will be an expert by next week.
I'm an expert now. I can just wait to do everything.
Well, all right, guys.
As long as I don't care about spoilers, I can go ahead and find out everything.
No, dude, you can't do it like that.
I'm absorbing the data to the internet. Either downloading it through text or downloading it through video.
All right, guys, that'll wrap up our episode. This was our Better Call Saul Season 3 recap. Stay tuned. Our next podcast will be Thursday, right after the NBA draft. There's already a lot of stuff going down. There was Brooke Lopez traded to the Lakers. Dwight Howard traded to the Charlotte Hornets. He's Jesse's favorite player. Who knows what's going to happen? We'll recap everything on Thursday. So we'll see you guys then. Brian and Jesse, anything you want to throw in?
Dwight Howard is not my favorite player. Shut up.
Yeah, and your new favorite player, Lonzo Ball, is going to the Lakers.
Oh, that's right. You got to come back for that. We're going to have the Lonzo Ball to the Lakers party.
Yeah, you guys also said that the Cavs are going to make it to at least 7 games, so shut up.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I don't know what you're talking about. It's not on
I
record.
guess we'll have to look. I think we'll have to look it up on the early podcast. So anybody else who wants to look, our podcasts are still there.